Hello everyone, my name is Marcus G. Welcome to my channel. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Fans of Chicago Fire were understandably concerned when the actor Taylor Kinney decided to take a leave of absence from the NBC show. Kinney was the show's main attraction. It is made abundantly clear in the 11th episode of Season 12 titled Inside Man that both Kinney and his character Kelly Severide play an extremely important role in the ongoing firefighter drama. Severide is the focal point of the narrative in every conceivable sense, and the fact that he is put in danger for the umpteenth time serves to emphasize the significance of his significance to Firehouse 51. Despite the fact that the idea of a fire truck being stolen directly from a firehouse may appear to be implausible, it is something that has actually occurred in the past, and it is something that puts Kinney in his creative element. Due to the fact that Chicago Fire has provided him with a large number of action scenes over the years, he is able to easily handle the physical aspect of the episode, while the relationship between stellaride and the character offers emotional depth. Even though it is a standalone episode, Inside Man provides viewers with a great deal of reason to be enthused about the show. There is a recurrent storyline on Chicago Fire that involves putting Kelly Severide's health and safety at jeopardy. Although the show has messed with all of its characters at some point or another over the course of 12 seasons, Severide and his best friend Matthew Casey have been particularly put through the ringer. This is ostensibly due to the fact that Severide and Casey were the leaders of Firehouse 51, but it is also due to the fact that their personalities are very proactive. Especially Severide is the type of person that dives headfirst into everything. The audience's response to the moment in Inside Man, in which he is seen hiding on the fire truck that is about to be stolen inside of merely trying to get away from the incident is yeah, that's typical Severide. From the perspective of any other show, this would appear to be a dramatic license moment. Nevertheless, Severide brings his own dramatic license to the table. Beginning at that time, Kinney is given the opportunity to have a portion of the show all to himself, while Chicago Fire alternates between Severide and everyone else within the firehouse. There are entire beats in which Kinney is acting exclusively by himself because there is only one other person present in the warehouse where the bad guys are hiding, and Severide is attempting to avoid being discovered. The fact that he must maintain the tension as Severide sneaks inside, underneath, and away from Truck 81 is a consequence of this. Even during the final act, when Severide is compelled to play the role of the truck driver, there is not a great deal of conversation. In addition to the athleticism that is required to be running around and battling people, Kinney communicates the majority of the episode's drama through his emotions and expressions. This is accomplished with the assistance of Brenna Malloy, who is now a veteran director after having worked on Chicago Fire. Due to the fact that Severide's escape from the purposefully crashed vehicle takes place off-screen, it is almost a tragedy because he would have been fantastic in those anxious moments when spectators watched him try to get out of the debris. In contrast to Chicago Fire Season 12, Episode 10, The Wrong Guy, which struggled due to the fact that characters, including Kelly Severide, were forced into situations where they didn't fit, Inside Man takes a different approach. The script went beyond the point where they were supposed to be uncomfortable, and it felt as though the entire hour didn't make any sense. On the other hand, Severide is exactly where he should be, in the actual field, setting an example for others to follow. If any other character had been placed in his position, they would not have been able to pull it off as successfully as Severide did. This is due to the fact that storylines like this are true to his character and play to Kinney of his strengths. Additionally, Chicago Fire follows in Kinney's footsteps. Those fans of stellaride who were disappointed that they did not receive more sequences involving Severide and Stella and the wrong guy will also be happy with Inside Man, despite the fact that the majority of the couple's on-screen interactions are concentrated towards the conclusion of the film. The emotional roller coaster that Stella goes through as she is worried about Kelly is a perfect example of how the stellaride of everything is expressed. In spite of the fact that episodes of Chicago Fire such as The Little Things demonstrate how incredible Stella is, the show nevertheless allows her the opportunity to communicate her vulnerabilities. There are many instances in which Miranda Ray Mayo gives the impression that she is on the verge of shedding tears. In addition, the firehouse scenes primarily center on Stella and the manner in which the other characters provide support for her. Certain individuals, such as Stella's protégé Kylie Estevez, played by a returning Caitlin Shenette, find themselves relegated to the background. A certain amount of time and dramatic space is taken up by the notion that the newcomer Jack Damon, who was played by Michael Bradway, is the eponymous Inside Man, and to tell you the truth, it is not even close to being a terrible recommendation. In light of Damon's odd phone conversation and the fact that he was the last person at the firehouse to communicate with Severide, it would have been reasonable to assume that this was the case. Nonetheless, it remains a fantastic red herring. Having said that, it is also fairly unexpected that Chicago Fire does not include such dramatic surprise in its storyline. The entire Damon as an enigma piece, in which Ritter expresses his doubts to Stella, already feels like it has been played out. Furthermore, the fact that Damon does not react in any way when Ritter tries to apologize is like letting the air out of the dramatic tires. There is nothing about the character that has been demonstrated that has the audience excited, whether it be as a prospective antagonist or as a potential new series regular. That would have been a succinct and comprehensive story arc for Jack Damon if he had been the insider in the situation. In the event that Ritter's boyfriend, Officer Dwayne Morris, is one of the law enforcement officers sent to search for Severide, at least he will finally have the opportunity to discuss his new relationship. Unfortunately, the other pair at Firehouse 51 does not fare as well. Joe Cruz discloses that his wife Chloe is interested in attending couples therapy due to the fact that his work hours are rising. Due to the fact that Chloe missed the wrong guy, as well as the fact that she was not even present in the episode. Both her character and their marriage are lacking significant story aspects that would otherwise make this make sense. This appears to be a rapid and abrupt change, which means that there is the potential for some relationship turbulence on Chicago Fire to contrast with the flirtatiously joyful conclusion that Severide and Stella experience. Although Chicago Fire Season 12 Episode 11 is structured in such a way that it is readily apparent that it is intended to be a solo chapter, the fact that Iman Walker will no longer be a series regular lends additional dimension to the episode. The fact that Walker's character Wallace Bowden does not appear in his second consecutive episode is acceptable because there is no obvious plot development for Bowden during the episode Inside Man. In the event that he were present, Stella would not be required to be anxiously attempting to address the scenario that is occurring at the firehouse. Despite the fact that Walker is still anticipated to play Bowden on a recurring basis, the fact that Severide is functioning as the temporary leader in The Wrong Guy seems to be a prediction of what will happen in the future. Should Chicago Fire be forced to force Severide into the role of Bowden more frequently, so removing the character from the environment in which he functions most effectively? As an alternative, will Firehouse 51 just no longer have a boss that appears on screen? Instead, will Bowden continue to manage the activities in the background until Walker appears for a certain reason? The film Inside Man demonstrates irrefutably that Kelly Severide is not suitable for management positions. When he is completely immersed in the action, he is at his most effective, not only within the team but also across the entirety of the television show. Because Casey and Sylvie Brett are now married and living in Oregon, the natural growth of Severide's character is that he needs to fill the white shirt hole. However, no one genuinely wants to see that happen despite the fact that it is the necessary progression. Stella, who is a better fit in terms of personality and whom Bowden sees promise for leadership, may be given those kinds of responsibilities on Chicago Fire. However, how would this influence the tales that she gets going into Season 13? The approach that makes the most sense from an entertainment point of view is to just declare that Bowden is doing all of the work off-screen. This would alleviate the bureaucratic headaches that Firehouse 51 usually has to deal with. However, this also has a disadvantage in that it is not feasible for a corporate environment in which individuals are required to handle a great deal of responsibility and are often punished for doing so. Despite the fact that this presents a challenge for the 2 episodes that are still to come in Season 12, Inside Man is the one that unquestionably puts down the gauntlet. Kinney is not at his best in those sequences, and Severide is not the type of person who would feel comfortable working in an office. Whether it's because Kelly Severide is continually getting into trouble, because Severide's marriage to Stella has become the heart of the show, or because all of the other characters have such regard for Severide, he is the driving force behind Chicago Fire. He is the instigating energy that propels the program ahead. It is beyond a shadow of a doubt that Inside Man substantiates the notion that Chicago Fire is not the same series without Taylor Kinney. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe my fast gossip to our channel and stay with us.